Hello, my friend. Welcome back to our garden. Before we get started on our chores, we like to set up Toshi in his favorite spot with his favorite blanket, give him a little bit of love, and make sure that he has plenty of water to drink. Speaking of which, we also need to make sure that we are staying hydrated as well. So before we get started, we have a special water recipe. Special water is a self-care thing that I make for my partner and I, so we always have very refreshing and yummy water to drink. And my energy level was very different when I made this, so bear with me. It's time for a special water recipe. Some people call it agua fresca, some people call it infused water. Here we call it special water. I will teach you how to make it. Let's go! I just got out of the shower, which is the perfect time to make special water. We have 2 pitchers for 2 different recipes. We're gonna get started by boiling our water for the mint leaves, and before we use them, we're going to wash them thoroughly. You wanna make sure you get all the dirt off and check the back of the leaves for bug nests, because that does happen from time to time. Also, I highly recommend growing your own mint. They're super easy to grow, they just need a lot of water and a lot of sunlight. Go ahead and pluck the leaves off of the stem and put them all in a little cup, and then you're gonna grab your boiling water and pour it over the mint leaves. This is going to extract all of the minty flavor, and it's actually great because it doesn't make the leaves wilt. Give it a little abracadaniel, and we're going to stir it around and let it sit for about 5 minutes. You don't need a lot of water. This extract is going to be super potent, powerful. Then we're gonna go to the fridge and get a handy dandy English cucumber. We're gonna use the whole thing for both recipes, and we're going to use the peels for something extra. So once you get the plastic coating off, you wanna make sure that you give it a really good wash. We're gonna come back and use a potato skin peeler to get the skin of the cucumber off. Now, the skin actually does have quite a bit of flavor and fragrance, but the skins are very handy for fertilizing plants. So I like to take all of those and shove them into a cup and grab our boiling water, pour it on top. We're gonna wait till it's like kind of lukewarm. Plants actually absorb water better when it's a little bit more warm, not boiling, but this is my peace lily plant, and I swear this little mixture of cucumber skin always gives me a flower on this thing, never fails. And this guy, look at him, he's beefy. He loves that. Now we're gonna chop our cucumber into little thin slices. The thinner they are, I find the more flavor is going to come out into the water. And I usually don't use the entire cucumber for a recipe, but you know, today it's special. Now we're gonna grab our lemons. I love the seedless lemons that are from Trader Joe's. They taste like candy. We're gonna get our juicer here. If you don't have one, you gotta get one. We'll squeeze as much as we can into one of the pitchers, and then we'll take the other pitcher, and then we'll take the other side of the lemon, and we'll squeeze that guy on into there. Yeah. Then we're gonna grab a lime, and if it's not citrus season, sometimes your limes can be like as hard as a rock. So if you roll it underneath the palm of your hand like this, kind of get it loosened up, it's a lot easier to squeeze with the juicer. And we're actually gonna use both sides of that lime on this one. This is kind of how I make my own like sugar-free lemon limeade, and it is quite delicious, if I do say so myself, and very easy to make. So instead of the sugar, we're gonna use stevia. Stevia is a natural sweetener that comes from the stevia leaf. It is actually a lot sweeter than sugar, so we're just gonna use like a couple drops and that'll be good. So then we're going to grab a rose water extract. This is a product of Lebanon, and it is super strong, so only a couple drops are needed. If you use too much, like the water tends to taste a little soapy. And by this point, our mint extract should be ready, so we're gonna get this little strainer guy thing that I think is used for poached eggs, and we're going to pour the bulk of it into the main guy, and then just like a little bit into the limeade I think will be good, just, you know, just a little bit. And we're done. We can fill up both of the pitchers with the rest of our water. This is fresh spring water that we get delivered by Sparklets. Hashtag sponsor me, ha ha ha. Between you and I don't trust Britta's, so we get our water delivered. Anyway, give them a good stir, and then you can pop them into the fridge to cool throughout the day. And then you have nice ice cold sugar-free special water that is delicious and nutritious, and you made it yourself. It's really easy to make, and I love it, and I love you, and there's so many different ways to make it, and it's fun, and drinking water is now fun. Stay hydrated, make special water, drink special water, come back for more recipes. Hopefully that energy level did not throw you off too much. I do hope that it did inspire you to make your own special water, because it is just such a lovely treat every day to look forward to. So now we can go ahead and get started. I'm very excited to show you all of the new blooms that are coming in. First we have the hydrangeas here, which I totally thought were dead, but they are about to flower, and I'm very excited for these guys. Back here we have the morning glories. They're not doing particularly well. They just don't get a lot of sunlight, but this guy right here is really reaching for it. Here are some of those plant donations that we got from my neighbor last time. And then down here we have our roses, which I had to transplant because the morning glories were like choking it, but it's doing a lot better right now. Next to that is the Shasta daisies, which I did overwater a little bit, but they are getting ready to flower. And there is a jumping spider who lives in there. He's really cool. He's like shiny and black, and he has kind of like blue and white stripes on him. I did look for him, but I couldn't find him, so maybe we'll see him emerge next time. Next to that, in this empty lot right here, I transplanted some of the Shasta daisies, and at first they were not doing well, so these are little babies that are kind of recovering a little bit. And then more Shasta daisies next to that, and these guys are doing really well, but I am a little worried because we have so many morning glories that are kind of taking over, but I'm just gonna see how it goes. Maybe they'll climb up the little tomato lattice and leave the Shasta daisies alone. Over on the less impressive right side, we have all of our cosmos that are coming in, and then like more morning glories. It's not looking great over here. They sure are pretty, but I kind of foresee myself taking down this vine later on when I figure out what to do for that side. So what I've been thinking lately is putting up some lattice and then maybe planting some pink black-eyed Susans. Black-eyed Susans are really easy to grow. We actually have these in abundance on my neighbor's side of the yard, and they are a very kind of like velvety climbing plant. They're very low maintenance, but very pretty. So when I found out they had a pink variant, I ended up ordering 2 starter plants, and I think I was expecting a little bit more than this. But yeah, this was 20 bucks for these 2 little guys. They're not doing so hot right now. They're very resilient, so I'm sure they'll bounce back, but in the meantime, I kind of have to figure out what to do. It seems like the pink variant is harder to find, harder to grow, and it's also a little bit more expensive, so I need to do a little bit more research. My thought was to pair this with a bougainvillea, which do really well in Los Angeles, and I actually planted one out front, and I thought they would look so pretty paired together. So I'm not really sure how I can make this happen. This might be something that I have to work on over the next couple of years, because right now I have to be very frugal because like everybody else financially, I am not doing so hot. Which is okay. It's just going to take some patience and some creativity to get from point A to point B. I noticed what looked like powdered mildew on the hydrangeas, which happened last year too, so you want to make sure that you clip those off because they do spread and they hurt the plant quite a bit. Usually if you just clip the leaves, they go away. I think this is happening because a neighborhood like stray cat keeps urinating on all of my plants. I'm not really sure what to do about that. But yeah, you just want to clip those leaves off before they spread. Especially to other plants as well, and that usually should take care of it. While we have our clippers out, we want to go ahead and just deadhead some of the cosmos. If you saw my last video, I talked about how these guys will grow like crazy, like very tall, almost like bamboo plants. They can get up to like 6 to 9 feet tall before they eventually fall over. And one of my gardening friends on Twitter told me that if you just clip the top, they will grow kind of outward instead of upward. So I feel like I'm clipping them a little bit too early, but they're growing a little bit slower than they did last year. But I just want to get ahead of that. Get ahead because I'm deadheading them. I make good jokes sometimes. And while I was pulling some weeds, I noticed some cilantro had emerged. This is kind of like a very mysterious occurrence that happened in my garden. I don't know where they came from. I did not plant them. This happened last year too, and I made the mistake of just letting them grow a little bit too long, and then once they flower, they lose their flavor. So I ended up picking a couple for our dinner tonight. Oh, poor Toshi, he's itchy. And then I went to clip off some of the dead cosmos. I usually just let the flower head fall back into the bed. They do a really good job of self-sowing, so if you just let them fall in there, they will sprinkle little seeds and they will grow more flowers. I was trying to find our jumping spider friend, and I ended up finding a lot more of our little ladybug friends. This is just, it's such a treat. Not only are they just delightful little bugs, they do a really good job of eating little pests And that's important to kind of keep my garden in order because we got a lot of little people living here. This is actually my first year to have snails in my garden, and I don't quite know what to do with them. I do enjoy looking at their little spirals though. They sure are cute. Here's my chamomile that's not growing well at all, and then I have my mosquito repellent candle. We had a really big infestation of invasive mosquitoes after all the rainfall, so that's what the candle's for. We had some drama on the spider web that is always attached to my car. I had to save this little bee from this little jerk over here that was like trying to eat him or munch on him. I don't know what he did, but I found out that the spider is living inside of my car, which I do not enjoy that thought at all. But I did free this little bumblebee because we gotta free the bees. We gotta protect these girls. They do a lot for us, so we gotta do a lot for them. What an eventful day of life and death here in the Pastel Garden. We hope you enjoyed your time here. We certainly enjoyed having you. Be sure to subscribe to see more, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!